Okay, picture this. You're on a busy factory floor. The machines are roaring, the production line is just flying by, and sparks are everywhere. The number one rule? Keep that line moving, no matter what. But just behind the scenes, there's a totally different story. It's a story of paperwork, stress, and total inefficiency. This is where operational perfection clashes with administrative chaos. So let's break down why this happens, and, more importantly, how to fix it with a much, much smarter way to manage things.
All right, let's step right onto that factory floor. Here, the pressure is always on. The whole mission is just to keep production going. But as you're about to see, the simple act of getting the right materials at the right time, well, that's where things get really complicated. You know, this is the golden rule in any manufacturing plant. Continuous production is absolutely everything. I mean, every single minute of downtime costs a fortune and puts deadlines at risk. You've got to feed the beast, and that means you need a constant, totally reliable flow of raw materials.
And while those machines are just a perfect model of efficiency, the back office, that's a different story. Just imagine a procurement manager literally buried under a mountain of paperwork, manually creating purchase order after purchase order for the exact same materials week in and week out. It's repetitive, it's slow, and honestly, it's just begging for mistakes. So how bad can it really get? Well, can you imagine having to create over 50 manual purchase orders every single week? That's 50 separate documents, 50 chances for a typo, and just countless hours spent on a task that feels like you're running in place. This is just not sustainable.
But what if there was a way to escape this endless cycle? Well, the good news is there is. SAP gives us a really powerful strategic tool that's designed specifically to tame this procurement chaos and turn it into a streamlined, automated process.
And the hero of our story is the outline agreement. Now, this isn't just another piece of paperwork. It's a completely different way of thinking. It's a long-term partnership that you set up with a vendor, locking in all the terms, the conditions, and the pricing for materials you know you're going to need over a long period of time.
And what's really crucial here is that SAP gets that not all long-term needs are the same. And that's why outline agreements actually come in two powerful flavors. We've got contracts, and we've got scheduling agreements. Let's dig into how they're different. So on one side, you have the contract. This is perfect for when you know the total amount of material you'll need over, say, a year, but you're not sure about the exact delivery dates. And on the other side, you have the scheduling agreement. This is for when you need precise, recurring deliveries that show up like clockwork. Let's start with the contract. The best way to think about it is like a giant silo of materials that you've already negotiated a great price for. You can agree with your vendor on a total quantity of an item. That's a quantity contract. Or you can agree on a total monetary value for a bunch of different items. That's a value contract. Then, whenever the factory needs something, you just create what's called a release order to draw from that pre-approved supply. The price is already locked in. Simple. Now, the other option is a scheduling agreement, which is kind of like putting your supply chain on a fully automated conveyor belt. You define a super precise schedule. Let's say 300 units need to be delivered every single Thursday. The system then just runs with that plan automatically, which completely gets rid of the need for those boring weekly purchase orders. Okay, so the theory is great, but let's see how this actually plays out in a real-world scenario. Imagine a company that's growing really, really fast. So here's the story. A company starts out with just one plant, buying materials at a pretty standard price. But then they expand to 3 plants. Suddenly, their buying volume just shoots through the roof. So they go back to their vendor and say, hey, we're going to be buying a lot more from you now. Let's make a deal. By setting up a contract, look at the price drop they were able to negotiate from 196 euros all the way down to 150. That is the power of a long-term agreement. And what's great is that this translates into a beautifully simple process. First, you set up the contract in SAP. Then, anytime you need materials, you create a purchase order that simply references that contract number. From there, the system does all the heavy lifting, automatically pulling in the price and terms you already agreed on. And the final step, you just receive the goods. And here is exactly what it looks like inside SAP. The user is creating a purchase order, but all they have to do is put in the agreement number. You see that? Boom! The system automatically fills in the vendor, the material, the price, everything. This is exactly where you eliminate those manual errors and save an incredible amount of time. Now let's take a look at a scheduling agreement in action. This screen here is showing the delivery schedule. The system has a precise plan locked in. 300 units arriving on July 1st, another 300 on July 8th, and so on. It's all laid out. The factory knows exactly what to expect, and the procurement team, they don't have to lift a finger to create new POs every single week. So after turning all that initial chaos into this smooth, automated system, what's the real payoff here? What are the actual tangible benefits for the business?
Well, the payoff is huge. First off, you get rid of those endless, repetitive purchase orders. Your procurement staff saves a ton of time, which means they can focus on more strategic work. You lock in better prices by using your total volume as leverage. Production planning gets way more accurate because your supply is now predictable. And of course, you drastically cut down on those costly manual errors. You're not just working hard anymore. You're finally working smart. And that really brings us to the final critical question that I want you to think about. Take a look at your own processes. Are you stuck in a cycle of manual, repetitive work, or are you using the strategic tools you have to automate, save money, and truly take back control?